line, TFO for short. TFO was founded almost on a whim by Professor Nikhila and myself in June 2020 during the lockdown. Since then, TFO has had uninterrupted discussions on films from all over the world every Saturday at 9 p.m. on Zoom. It is a group of film scholars, researchers, students, teachers, and anyone passionate about cinema. It has been our practice to invite people to select and lead the discussion of the chosen film, which we watch in our own time and place. On some occasions, filmmakers, editors, and cinematographers have also joined our sessions. Aparna Sen, Amol Palekar, Girish Kasarvalli, and Adur Gopalakrishnan, to name a few. We have held film festivals such as East European, Iranian, Women Cinema, and others. In the month of June each year, to celebrate our anniversary, we hold a smartphone short film making contest for students and a lecture series in various university departments. Recently, we organized an international seminar on digital cinema, on Indian digital cinema, continuities and discontinuities, in collaboration with Forum on Contemporary Theory, Baroda. This evening, we will discuss Goodwill Hunting. To lead the discussion, we have with us Dr. Vikas Rajpopat. Dr. Rajpopat, an assistant professor in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication at Guru Ghashidas Vishwavidyalaya, Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh, has carved a unique niche in both academia and filmmaking. Beginning his career with positions at the Maharaja Sayajirao University of Baroda and Saurashtra University, Rajkot, Gujarat, he has consistently nurtured future journalists while using media to drive social change. Dr. Rajpopat is a freelance correspondent for Feelings, a Gujarati magazine, and a columnist for Cine Gujarati. His academic work spans various themes, including traditional art forms in Bollywood, impact of fake news, gender sensitivity in Bollywood, and the ecological significance of folk culture. His career is a blend of scholarly inquiry and creative expression. Welcome to you, Dr. Rajpopat, and over to you.
Thank you very much, Geeta ma'am. Thank you very much, Talking Films Online. As I'm introduced, I am Dr. Vikas Rajpopat. I'm sharing my presentation. Namaste, everyone. The meaning of life is to give life a meaning. And when we talk about giving life a meaning, a film is the this film can be very helpful. So if we talk about the summary of the plot, I hope that every one of you would have watched the film. Then the film tells a story of the character named Will, a young sweeper boy at MIT who possesses a rare mathematical genius. His journey unfolds as he struggles with his past, relationships, and self acceptance. The film is directed by Gus Van Sant, whose another great work that I admire, I like very much, is Finding Forrester. I also recommend you all to watch that film too. And this film's screenplay, written by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, won the Academy Award for the best screenplay. This is the highlight of the plot and about the director. The release year of this film is 1997, and the screenplay won the Academy Award. So the film talks about these major themes. These are four major themes which are there in the film. Uh, the the film tackles the complex themes such as unrealized potential, we can say intellectual potential, but if we consider it as only the potential, then it talks about the unrealized potential of the character, that is Will, and the consequences of the emotional trauma which he had during his childhood, and the power of mentorship. Again, a very great actor who has played the part of the mentor of Wheel, and the intersections of class struggle. If we watch minutely, then we can see the class struggle reflected in the film. We'll talk about all these themes in detail. So all these themes are the major or central part of the narrative of the entire film, and it provides the um, deep emotional undercurrent throughout the film, and that is the style of Gunwan San, the director. So, if we discuss about the character Will Hunt, who has written the screenplay of the film, please remember. So, his character is Will is not just the genius; he is deeply troubled individual who used his intellect as a defense mechanism. His emotional trauma stemming from the childhood abuse defines his interactions with others and his ability to form the deep connections with the other people. So he is reluctant to be connected with all the characters, the female counterpart, the mentor who came in his life, Robin Robin Williams. So he has that issue of he has that issue of being connected with all the other characters of the film, and the reason is his troubled past. uh, and then the character of Robin Williams, Sean Megri, uh, his character is very unique in the film, and he serves as the father figure of Will and a mentor. His personal grief over his late wife allows him to connect with Will on a deeper emotional level, breaking down Will's barriers and encouraging his growth, and ultimately allowing him to live his life without the burden of the past which he carried for years. Then the other female counterpart of the film, that is Skylar. The character's name is Skylar, and Skylar represents the potential future of emotional fulfillment for Will. Her openness, academic ambition, and vulnerability contrast with Will's defensiveness, and their relationship highlights Will's struggle with trust and vulnerability. So her character is so unique, and she can be the perfect counterpart for Will's character. She is so charming in the film. You must have watched her. And then let's talk about the class and socio-economic struggle that is there in the film. So the film juxtaposes Will's working class upbringing in South Boston with the world of MIT and academia. Will's reluctance to embrace his potential is partly driven by his resistance to the world that intellectual success would bring him into. So he has that resistance to do not get involved with the atmosphere which was there in the MIT. But there was a character who wanted badly to use the potential of Will for the academic uh, uh, persuasion which he had. And this film is mainly based on that psychological dimension. So from the psychological perspective, Will's fear of intimacy and abandonment aligns with the attachment theory. His inability to form close relationship stems from the neglect and abuse he suffered as a child. So that attachment theory, which if we talk about attachment theory, then we see that that attachment issue is found in the kids, in the children. But Will is such a boy, and that is why this film is also called as the coming over the age cinema, because Will's character can be seen as an infant, because he is not ready, he is not open to embrace the life, the people around him. So, but this attachment issue is also found in his age as well. So, his childhood trauma leads him to the dismissive or avoidance of the attachment with the people around him. And after the problem, let's discuss about the solution that is there in the film. So, the film portrays therapy as the intimate, humanizing process. Since unorthodox approach helps Will to confront his emotional wounds, gradually leading him to the pivotal moment where he begins to heal. So, in the film, we see that Will meets so many therapists, different sort of therapists, and those sequences are very funny, very light-hearted, because more than the therapist, the ability or knowledge, Will shows more intellect or more understanding. And I mean, initially he shows that that therapist is the therapy of that therapist is working, but actually it was just for the sake of fun that Wheel was behaving like in that manner. So Wheel is more powerful because before visiting the therapist, he used to study his style, the person, the therapy that the therapist uses. So Will is, I mean, as mentioned earlier, that he is a genius, and he used to use his intellect to defy all the therapists that he met. But the character of Robin Williams, that therapist is very different because he has no burden of being a therapist. Even in his conversation, we see that Robin Williams' character doesn't show that jargons or the use of such language that I'm trying to heal you. He just wants to listen to what Will wants to talk. And whenever Will doesn't want didn't find like talking, then scene also allowed him to just remain silent. So that was his approach of therapy. As we know that he was a mathematics genius, and Wheel's genius in mathematics is portrayed as both a gift and a burden as well, because in the initial phase only, when we see that no one could solve the mathematical problem that was written there, but Seen could easily understand and solve that mathematical problem. But his power, his intellectual, his genius was not useful to him, because the burden which he had, he was not able to talk about that burden, but that burden was always there. And that hampered his happiness as well. So the film explores the dissonance between intellectual brilliance and emotional maturity, similar to the similar to the historical figures like John Nash and Ramanujan. Even the names of both these mathematical genius is also there in the film as well. So the role of mentorship that we can see in the film, mentorship is a recurring thing. Entire film we see that that is a recurring thing. And with Sean Megri and Professor Lembu represents two contrasting styles. While Lembu pushes Will towards success, Sean focuses more on Will's emotional stability, his emotional growth, highlighting the different ways of mentors who can save the individual. Uh, the character of Professor Lembu was merely focused on the performance part of Will, and Scene's character was such that he focused more on the character, more on the happiness of Will. So these are the two styles, the contrasting styles that we see in the mentorship of both the persons. So Scene becomes the father figure of Will, as I mentioned. So Will's lack of a father figure has left a void in his life, and Scene fits in this role emotionally, whereas Lembu tries to feel it intellectually. This contract deepens the emotional stakes for the for the character of Will as he navigates his path to self-realization and the emotional stability. In the film we see the social class and issue of identity as well. So Will's identity is deeply tied to his working class background from where he comes, and he often resists the notion of entering the elite world of academicians. This inner conflict between who he is and who he could be underscores much of his emotional struggle. So his resistance to enter into that academic environment is always seen in the film. And then his relation with Skylar and Will's relationship with Skylar is a key part of the film as it mirrors his fear of emotional vulnerability. His eventual decisions to leave Boston to find her symbolizes his desire to confront his fears and grow emotionally. In the end of the film, we see that Will decides to leave he decides to leave Boston to meet Skylar and to live with Skylar is the high point of the film, and he becomes ready at the end to confront the emotional barriers which he had. I mean, again, masculinity and vulnerability are, the two major factors that we can see in the film. The film breaks away from traditional representation of masculinity by emphasizing the importance of emotional vulnerability and Scene's willingness to discuss his grief and feelings with Will creates a safe space for emotional honesty, challenging toxic masculinity which even Will had and the society had. Then again, Will's character was such that he loved his freedom, so-called freedom. So Will's resistance to authority is the another aspect of his emotional defense, and he rejects Lembua's push towards academia because he perceives it as an imposition symbolic of the elite system he mistrusts. So he has major trust issues, and this environment of academia he was not ready to get entered into. And as mentioned earlier, the issue of identity and belonging is there. So Will's strong ties to South Boston, the city he loved the most, anchors him in a specific social class, and his reluctance to change reflects his deep need to belonging because he felt that he belongs to the South Boston. His internal struggle with identity is central to the film's narrative. Then the notion of freedom. The theme of freedom is pivotal, again, both in terms of Will's intellectual potential and his emotional baggage that he carried. So, Scene's influence helps him break free from the psychological chains that have kept him, trapped him in a cycle of self sabotage, and the institutional failure that we see in the film. The film puts questions to the institutionalized academia, particularly through the Lembua's character, whose narrow view of success contrasts with Scene's holistic approach to the personal growth. The critic touches upon the film's larger conversation about individualism versus systematic pressure, and that pressure of performance is also there, but Scene was of that view to have that emotional stability first. So we see that the film explores the contrast between the intellectual and emotional intelligence. Will's mathematical brilliance is juxtaposed against his emotional immaturity. Since mentorship is essential in helping with will understand that emotional growth is as important as the intellectual achievement or any other worldly achievement. Will's traumatic childhood is central to his character's emotional struggle. His history of abuse that we are not told, in a very specific manner, but in the conversation with scene, we find about the emotional trauma, the childhood trauma that Will's character had to suffer from. So, since empathy and the understanding of trauma create a safe space for Will to confront his past and start the much needed healing process, especially healing of the emotional burden that he carried. This is the fantastic scene of the film. It's not your fault. And this scene is so powerful that it can make anybody cry. And so this it's not your fault scene is one of the film's most powerful moment, and it represents Will's emotional breakthrough. As scene's repetition of these words help Will finally accept that he is not to blame for the trauma he experienced. This scene makes a turning point in Will's journey toward healing. And even if you only watch this scene, we see that Will is not understanding. Initially, Will doesn't understand what scene is trying to communicate to him. So repeatedly, scene repeatedly tells that statement that it's not your fault. It's not your fault. And listening these sentence repeatedly, will also gets annoyed, and then he emotionally he is emotionally broken. He cries and hugs scene. Again, friendship and loyalty is there. Will's friendship with Chucky, he is also another wonderful character of the film. Again, he also wrote a screenplay with Will. So, the friendship with Chucky symbolizes the importance of loyalty and belonging in his life. Chucky's encouragement for Will to live and pursue greater opportunities demonstrates the selflessness and loyalty in their relationship, even as Will fears outgrowing his social circle. So it's not just with the romantic relation with Skylar or the mentorship relationship with Scene, but Chucky's character is also there, who is very helpful for the Will's character, and that theme of friendship and loyalty is continued with that character as well. In fact, Chucky is the person who comes first in his life. He lives with him, but he always wishes great things for Will, and he kept on telling Will that your potential is greater, and you should pursue something greater as well. So the film authentically portrays working class and life in Boston, South Boston, capturing the nuances of language, community, and the behavior of the people. This cultural backdrop plays a crucial role in shaping Will's identity and his resistance to change. And as I earlier mentioned, that he felt belonging with the South Boston. So the backdrop of South Boston is very important in depiction of the working class people. And then the role of the female. Skylar serves as the catalyst for Will's emotional development, but the film has been critiqued for its limited portrayal of women, because there is only the character of Skylar, and her character is also, the time that Skylar's character gets is very little. The film emphasizes the power of opening up emotionally as a necessary step for the personal growth and deeper connections with others. Will's fear of success is deeply tied to his fear of change and his emotional insecurities that he felt. His self sabotages his opportunities because, at his core, he is afraid of stepping into the unknown world and leaving behind the comfort of his current world. He loved the place where he used to live. He loved his books. He kept trying to find meaning in books rather than the life itself. So he was confined to that space, that his habits, and he was not open to enter into the uh, new things, enter into the emotional connections with unknown persons as well. Professor Lemieux views Will as a prodigy and pushes him towards academic success. However, his approach creates ethical dilemmas as he prioritizes Will's intellectual potential over his emotional well-being. And I mean, the character of Professor Lemieux was just focused on the utilitarian approach, because he wanted Will to perform, because he had great potential, but he was not ready to look into the life of Will, who was struggling with emotional baggage which he had. So I talked about the academic ambition of Lemieux, and how he pushes Will's character towards the success. Then let's talk about the cinematic techniques. Gus Van Sant's direction employs a variety of cinematic techniques to emphasize emotional intensity. In today's world, the youth talks about the film being fast, the film being slow. So this film is very slow, because the shots, the takes are very long. The director gives ample time to a character to show, to express the emotion which the characters have. So these visual style makes one contemplate. So in this world of fast reels, one can find goodwill hunting very slow, but that is what the director wanted to convey. That was his style only. So he wants to focus his audiences to emotional intensity that he wanted to portray. And so he uses close-up shots during therapy sessions to highlight the vulnerability of Will's character, and the contrasting visual style between South Boston and academic settings are also notable, because it reflects the thematic contrast. Because whenever that academia world is shown, the visual is made narrowed. I mean, the frames are not wide, but when South Boston is portrayed, that is shown with the wider perspective, with wide lens. And this is the technique with which the director wants to communicate that the atmosphere of academic world is compressed, and the Boston, the city, is open, is embarrassing to life itself. So this is the contrasting visual style that we can see in the film. Again, this is very important, because Boston is portrayed as the as it is Boston is not just the backdrop of the film. but it is also a character that influences the Will's character. Whatever whatever the way Will lives also represents how the South Boston people live. So Will's character is the representation of Boston city itself. So cities, working class neighborhoods, and then the academic institutions of the city saves the film's tension between the two worlds Will is caught between. And the city, Boston, is made as the integral part of the entire film. The conversation between Will and Chucky about Chucky hoping one day Will won't be there symbolizes the push for Will to embrace change and freedom. Even the film ends with Chucky checking the house of Will. He used to tell Will that I want a day in which I reach to your home and I find that you are not there. You have left already. And in the end it happens that will leaves for will leaves Chucky, will leaves that city, will leaves that academic world of Boston, and he goes after Skyler. So the city's working class sorry uh, the car represents the both the journey and the emotional distance Will needs to cover to leave behind his old life. So the car sequences are twice used. I mean, in every day Chucky used to ride with him, but that ride was not the symbolic of freedom. But when at the end, when Will leaves Boston, that becomes the drive for the freedom. Will's journey can be seen through an existential lens as he grapples with the questions of identity, purpose, and freedom as well. His intellectual gifts give him the potential for greatness, but his fear and uncertainty about who he truly is create an existential crisis. So initially, we see that Will always uses intellect to hide his character. It was his defensive mechanism. But that underlying question of who am I is always there. In Will's character. Then again, if we talk about the aesthetic aspect of the film, the visual style of the film director, then the visual composition that we see in the film, emotional tone, and the naturalistic setting of Boston, the academic world, and the color palette which is there in the film, these things make the great visual composition. And the emotional tone is also set with the visuals, and the color palette is there. So the film has the distinct aesthetic value, combining the naturalistic visual style with emotionally resonant scenes. So film's color palette uses warm tones during intimate moments, creating a sense of comfort and vulnerability, while the urban environment of Boston is portrayed with grittiness and authenticity. These visual choices enhance the film's grounded emotional narrative. Another technique, if we talk about another technical aspect of the film, then technically the film excels in his direction by Gus Van Sant, who keeps the focus on character-driven storytelling. This is his style. Again, even Finding Forrester, we see that the focus is more on the author, retired author, and the young person who pursues writing. So this is his style, and the editing of the film in every film of Gus Van Sant, it ensures the smooth narrative flow, balancing personal scenes with the intellectual moments that we see in the film, and the use of sound design, including the music by Danny Elfman, and Songs by Elliott Smith creates an emotional backdrop that contemplates the film's theme. The cinematography captures Boston's dual identity, working class neighborhoods, and elite academia that, as I mentioned earlier. The response that the film received, we all know, as I already mentioned, that the screenplay of the film won the award. The film was critically acclaimed upon its release, winning the two Academy Awards: Best Original Screenplay for Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, and Best Supporting Actor for Robin Williams. Its legacy ensures as a film that exposes deep emotional and intellectual questions while maintaining mainstream appeal of the film. And if we talk about the lessons that we can learn from the film, then the film teaches us about the importance of emotional well being, emotional healing, the power of mentorship, and the need for self discovery and understanding of the self. It reminds us that intellectual gifts are not just enough without the personal growth, the emotional stability, and the true success comes from understanding one's own self. So let's summarize the major points of the film. Good Will Hunting is a film that resonates on multiple levels: emotional, intellectual, and cultural. Its exploration of trauma, identity, mentorship, and emotional growth makes it a timeless piece of cinema that continues to inspire audiences of the entire world. So, this was the presentation that I wanted to make. Then I think I have run through it very fast, but we can open the floor. Geeta ma'am.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. Thank you so much, Vikas, for this very thorough analysis of several aspects of the film, starting right from the themes, the characters, and the plot, cinematography. I mean, you've really left nothing. So it's open for discussion. Uh, Maybe you can stop sharing.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, while you gather your thoughts, maybe I would just like to say that, like you rightly said, Sean and Professor Lambo are the main forces, on Will, trying to shape him, each in their own way, in his own way. So, like you said, Sean looks at him in entirety, his emotional maturity and all of that. And Lambo seems to be restricted to Will's incredible genius. But for me personally, and also a lot of us here are from the teaching profession, uh, I could also sympathize with Professor Lambo, like, because when you have, such a brilliant student, and then you see him playing truant, and then, you begin to feel that here is a person who is so exceptionally gifted, but he's not really, utilizing his genius. So I did feel some kind of sympathy with this character of the professor as well. So I don't know about how the others thought about it, but this is mine. And I think the film also is a lot of, I mean, apart from the power of love to change a person, it's also a lot about education itself, the access to formal education, and it's also about autodidacticism, because we don't know, I mean, like, how Will has learned all that he seems to have learned. So, a kind of self-taught person. So there are a lot of themes that the film seems to pack into it and unpack in the process of the narrative. So this is what I have to
Even,
say.
ma'am, we can find that, when they were together, that Scene and Lembo, kind of, chemistry they would be having. We can have an idea, because both were wonderful. I mean, both are wonderful characters, but focused on the different dimensions of life, actually. On one hand, we can say that Robin Williams' character has the holistic approach, but then, as you rightly mentioned, ma'am, that Lembo's character didn't have any kind of vices. He is also right on his own. So I mean, he is not the villain of the film, but he represents another aspect of life, which can be more, we can say, utilitarian aspect. But the focus, and even I mean, one of my friends used to say that, you love Robin Williams character, but he promoted escape from the life. So I mean, I used to answer her that it's not, he is not advocating escape, but he is advocating that you become yourself first and then you go for the performance. So this is the difference, I believe, ma'am.
Any other opinion? Yes, Nikhila, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Vikas, for suggesting the film and also for your wonderful overview of all aspects of the film from different perspectives. I was thinking that this film also sets the terms and conditions for entry into the academia. It seems to suggest Professor Lambo's approach seems to suggest that it is a meritocracy at work. If you are good, no matter who you are, you will come into the academia. So that's what Lambo seems to be, or his approach seems to be advocating. And Will has proven himself exceptional. He can do things that, even the professor himself cannot do. So, in that sense, the professor feels that here is someone, who should be in the academia. But the space of the academia is not just about getting good grades, performing exceptionally well, but also accepting someone who comes from a different kind of a social background, who comes with a different social comes from a different emotional baggage. Who does not, with whom anybody could get impatient. In that sense, the film, I felt, is also exploring the limits. I mean, so much. I mean, as a teacher, I am also someone who only bothers about, the performance of students. But who they are, what they come from, and how they perceive the space, and perceive deeply the kind of maybe hierarchy, or maybe the instrumentalism. So I'm not accepted, my mind is accepted. So this instrumentalism. So all those, I thought the film was exploring wonderfully well. So you cannot have just Will's mind and say that the rest of him is deceased and the rest of him is not acceptable, or it has to be transformed in the way we dictate it, which is what in some ways the academia is trying to do. I thought it was very, I felt that that aspect of setting the boundaries of what academia allows for, because Professor Lambo represents the hegemonic force in the academia. I mean, he's a professor of mathematics. He could be a professor of mass communication or film studies or English. So he represents the hegemonic force in the academia, and the terms and conditions which determine how a student is an object of evaluation, someone whom you consider as very good, genius. Whereas those titles may mean nothing if Will cannot be accepted for who he is. So yeah, I just thought that the film was helping us to think through some of these aspects as teachers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nikhila. Anyone else would like to step in now?
In between, I mentioned about the style of Guswan San, the director. So, if we if we consider auteur theory, then this director's style is that of making the audience contemplate the things, contemplate the emotional aspects of the character. So that is what he always used to, and this film becomes emotionally so powerful because of Will's character. But it is not just about that much of genius that the person would be having. If the person has less potential, even then he would be he. I mean, we must consider him as an individual, and that message is there in this film, I believe. So what he can perform, that is fine. Performance is needed. That utility aspect is always there. But apart from that, the living being is there, and he should be considered whoever he is, the way he is. So that's the strong message that I personally feel the film successfully gives.
Okay. Anyone else? Any more comments, questions? Fabian, would you like to say something? No?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
yes, we can. Please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, thank you for showing this film. I've seen this film a long time ago, and I was thinking that the actors were wonderful. I mean, direction of actors are extraordinary, and we see how Robin Williams and Matt Dillon are really great actors, so natural, and the way the director has directed them is also amazing. But there are some also things that I didn't like. I didn't like the sound and how the sound is distributed. Normally, I teach my students when they film a dialogue, when they edit a dialogue, to not put music and words in the same time. If people are talking, using music in the same time is a sound pollution. But a lot of directors do put music on dialogues. And when you see it on televisions and at the cinema, it's okay because they have really loudspeaker adapted to very high quality loudspeaker. But if you see it on a computer, on a phone, and with a low definition, then the sounds, the way the sound is used is very difficult. So this is one point. Another point is all this film about geniuses, I'm not very fond because it's not that genius don't exist, they do exist, but to really exaggerate on the geniosity of the people is something dangerous. I think it's dangerous politically, very politically, and it's dangerous artistically, it's dangerous socially, and it's dangerous in the family. I think if I had a genius child, I would not multiplicate and stress the geniality, but try to do things as normal as possible. And even as a teacher, I think it's not a gift that you give to the students if you say too much that he's a genius. Well, this is my opinion and experience. You can encourage intelligence, but if you put up the genius, I think it's a capitalist, vicious. I see it very politically because in America, to put things like this, you know, to insist on on the genius is something very capitalist if you think really deep down about it, and it takes and it's like a devaluation of other normal intelligence, and I think it can be a dangerous game, but it's only my point of view.
Thank you, Fabian. I'm just curious to know, Fabian, did you by any chance watch it on YouTube?
Yes, it's
Because then,
horrible.
yes, because on YouTube, no, there's nothing wrong with the sound of the film. On the YouTube version, they have actually inserted music into it throughout. It runs parallel with the dialogue, and that is when I also began by watching it on YouTube and then switched to Prime Video. So, if you watch it on Amazon Prime, the kind of intrusive music that is there on YouTube, it is not there.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I also just kind of,
Yes, the YouTube version is not watchable.
it's terrible. You cannot even watch it because it's just layered with music throughout from start to finish.
It was a nightmare.
Yes, yes. Any other
No, the other point that she made is interesting. Okay,
yes,
I'll just
yes.
stop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Unless
About
Pragna wants to speak.
yes,
I'll stop.
Pragnya, please go ahead. Pragnya, you have raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to unmute myself.
Okay.
So I enjoyed watching the film. I had also seen it, a few years ago, but I revisited it again. And I enjoyed, I found it very emotionally moving. I also enjoyed the presentation. I think it really, gave us a lay of the land. But I think this was also covered in the presentation, Chucky's monologue that Will owes it to people from his background to kind of do well, you know, and make the most of his potential. I was kind of left a little bit dissatisfied with the resolution of that in the film. Because the question is, does someone from a marginalized background owe it to the community to do something with their life? It's like a predetermined destiny, this role of the flag bearer. I think that is the term they use in psychology. And we can see Will protesting against this throughout the film, saying that why should I, why can there is honor in, remaining where you are, right? I just wish that the film had given more space to kind of explore this idea a little bit more. So that's just one thought I had.
The theme of being versus becoming is also there. So the focus on the being part is there, and the becoming part is subtle, and it is just suggestive that once he is emotionally stable, then he would be back with the performance. So that being part is more focused during the film.
Right, right, right.
Okay. Any other comments? Any other thoughts about the film? Rasha, Madhurima, would you like to say something? Tarkeshwar? Yes, Murli Krishna, you have unmuted. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good
Yeah.
evening all. Well, I endorse all the plus points of the film that have come before us now. Yes, Will and Sean, in a way, are both wounded men, so as to say, in a sense. Both they reveal their psychological issues. I mean, they reveal their past, and there are also emotional disclosures about their past. Now, Will is an orphan who will be. We hear that he has been abused by his surrogate father, and he carries that as a baggage from his childhood. Now, on the other side, Sean is a widower who is still in love with his wife. She dies of cancer, as we are told. Now, Sean is also a product of an abusive parent. And the films has these parallels. I think as far as screenplay is seen, or I as I see, the screenplay is quite conveniently constructed uh, to portray these two parallels, because in the end we see that all these personal issues or personal problems are resolved. In a way, I felt that this aspect is quite constructed. Well, it lacks conflicts in a sense, I think. That's my take. That's the only take I want to make here. It looks a bit contrived, if I can say that. Thank you.
Would you like to respond to that, Vikas, or would anyone else like to come in?
The film schools use uh, Goodwill Hunting as the model for the screenplay, learning screenplay. So, I mean, as Murliji found it, constructed. Not, I won't say that weekly, but the lake is there. But I mean, the world has found that the screenplay of the film is very strong, and when it comes to the therapy film, then Good Will Hunting is considered as the masterpiece and uh, as the masterpiece.
Any more responses?
I wanted to just talk about the points that both Pragna and Fabian made about Fabian's point about the genius and how it is very uncomfortable the way in which Lambo goes on, kind of surely the sense that he's exceptional is what is kind of highlighted in the film. I too thought, as Fabian was saying, I too was thinking that it's kind of very uncomfortable, very instrumentalist, that one describes him as, genius also sounds very similar to freak here. So how could he, So even I felt that the discourse of, him being a genius was somewhat problematic as well. And Prajna's point I thought was, very, very interesting about how he doesn't want to be the kind of flag bearer or someone who stands for, the whole lot. So when his friend Chucky, Chucky says that you should stand up for us, probably that's what he has been not being made an example of, either by Lambo or by his own friends. Yeah, I thought that was a very interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhila. Yeah, Tarkeshwar, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's a well-made movie and it works well. So in that sense, it has a good plot. And it has been a success too, in that sense. There's no doubt about it. But again, the notion of quote unquote the genius is highly problematic. That is outside of the filmmaking. After granting that it's a good, well-made film and well-crafted too, but the notion of genius is highly problematic. It is true that the academia, the institutionalized knowledge has certain problems, especially the specialization problem. It comes in the movie. You have mathematics, you have history, and they have nothing to do with each other. But here is a guy who can solve difficult mathematical problems, as well as talk about history, analysis of capitalism, Marxist perspective of it, quote from the people who have worked on it, and then retort to a guy that you're simply parroting from this book, this page number. This looks like a kind of more AI kind of thing to me. That AI can do it faster than some of us. Even though I would have read a book, I will not be able to recall from which page I'm quoting it from. But here is a guy who could do it. And he himself claims that he has done it through the public libraries. And he often says that, why are you studying in academia and then learning all these things when these books are available in the public library and you could simply acquire it from there? But when he says that there seems to be a kind of difference between what knowledge is and what information is. But unfortunately, this information that he parrots out are a difficult mathematical equation that you can solve through logic, because mathematics purely works on logic, is considered as a kind of geniusness. So neither the logic is credited nor the kind of reading that he has done in the public libraries on his own is credited to it. So somewhere it is attributed to an individual. I think that's where I think people like Fabian have a problem with this notion of genius. Apart from this notion, I think otherwise it's a very good movie. The implications of it is again, yes, one is your childhood trauma can affect your present. That comes out very well. And the kind of faces that we put on in academia, that how to uncover it. See, in one sense, the movie unwittingly tries to trace the difference between the experience, knowledge, and what comes as a compartmentalized knowledge in the academia. So what we have is a compartmentalized knowledge. We are unable to relate it to our own life experiences or bring the society and the academia together. I think somewhere that line of argument seems to be there, but that is not completely worked out. Because somewhere the problem, I think, is the insistence on the individual genius. That's where it is not able to exploit the potential the theme itself has. This is my point. Thank you. Thank you for the suggestion. I had seen this earlier and I didn't mind seeing it again because, as I said, it's a well-made movie. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tarkeshwar. Any other responses? Okay, in that case, we will end the session now. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajpopat, for initiating a discussion on this film. And good night. Thank you all for joining. See you next Saturday, same time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.
Thank
Good night.
you.
Thank you.
See you next
Thank
week.
you.
Right.